Let's take a look at lesson 8.2, volume of a cylinder. So first of all, this is a cylinder. So it has round surface all the way around, and then two round bases, two cylindrical bases. So your typical Clorox, disinfecting wipes, a lot of you have that, is a cylinder. This is another example of a cylinder. So a round surface with two circular bases. And then like your Elmer's glue, any glue stick is going to be a cylinder shape. Your can of soups, or your a soda can, those are cylinders. Okay, so let's take a look at the volume. How much can you fit inside of a cylinder? What's the space inside? That's volume. Okay, so formula for volume is the area of the base times the height. So now area of the base, since your base is a circle, the area of a circle is pi times radius squared. So the volume of a cylinder is also the same as pi times radius squared times the height. So these two, pi times radius squared, is that area of the base. Okay, so the things you need are pi, which 3.14 is pi, your radius, and your height. So if you are given the diameter all the way across one of your bases, you have to cut that in half. We only want half of the diameter, which is a radius. So cut your diameter in half or divide it by 2, and you have everything you need. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. What is the volume of the cylinder? Express your answer in terms of pi. So I will get to that at the end, but let's find the volume. So volume equals area of your base times your height, or we can use pi times radius squared times height also. So see the capital B, that is the area of the base. So that is 4 pi. That takes the place of these two right here, 4 pi. And now we just need the height. So this cylinder is laying down, but if you were to stand it up, that would be how tall it is. So 10. Okay, so now you're just going to plug that into your calculator. If you have a handheld calculator, use the pi button. Most calculators have that. If you don't, you can pull up a calculator on your Chromebook or your phone. So pi times 4 times 10. And we get 125.6. You need to round it to the tenths place. So that 6 bumps that up to a 7 actually, so 125.7. So your volume is 125.7, and volume is always written in cubic measurement. So millimeters cubed would be your final answer if you're just asked to find the volume. But let's go back to the directions. This says express your answer in terms of pi. So that means you're going to put pi in your answer and multiply everything else. Keep pi out of it, multiply just the other numbers. So 4 times 10 is 40 pi. That's expressed in your answer in terms of pi, and then millimeters cubed. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Let's find the volume again. So this one says, what's the volume of a cylinder with a radius of 5 and a height of 2.5 centimeters? So volume equals pi times radius squared times height. Let's plug in what we know. Okay, so we know pi is 3.14. Let's leave it pi. We have the radius, which is 5, so 5 squared, and we have the height, which is 2.5. Again, if this were the diameter, you would have to divide that by 2 or cut that in half. We need the radius, and we have it, so that's why we did that. All right, plug that into your calculator. Pi times 5 times 5 times 2.5, and round to the tenths place, and you get 196.3, and this is centimeters cubed. Cubic centimeters is volume. All right, so now let's take a look at one where we are asked to find something other than the volume. So this says, what is the approximate height of the cylinder? So now let's use the exact same thing. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height, because we do have the volume right here. So it gives us the volume. You're going to plug in 314 to the volume. We're going to bring down pi, because we know that's pi, 3.14. Radius, okay, look, we have the radius, it's 10, so let's plug that in, times 10 squared. And then the height is what we're missing. We don't know how tall this is, so just leave it h. So now on this right side, you're going to multiply everything you can. So plug into your calculator pi times 10 times 10. So bring 314 down. Pi times 10 is 314.2. And then bring down your h. Now, because these two are next to each other, and that means multiply, we're going to divide. We're going to do the inverse operation. So divide both sides by 314.2. So now this divided by itself is 1, and we have 1h. We have the height. Now, if you plug this into your calculator, you're going to get 0.99 something. but you have to round to the 10th place. So it's basically 1. Isn't 314 divided by 314.2 going to be about 1? So your height is 1 foot. 1 foot is your height. Again, only volume is in cubic feet. Height is just how tall it is, 1 foot. Okay, let's take a look at one more where you have to calculate something other than the volume. So let's take a look at this can of apple juice. And this time, this says, what is the radius? So now, because we're given the volume, we're going to use that formula. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height. And now let's plug in what we're given. So the volume is 300 milliliters. So volume of 300 goes in volume. We're going to leave pi, pi. We do not know what the radius is, so we're going to bring down radius squared. We do know the height. This is 14 centimeters tall, so 14 goes in for the height. Okay, so now let's multiply everything we can on this side. So bring your 300 down, and we can multiply pi times 14. So plug that into your calculator, pi times 14, and you will get 44. If you round it to the hundredths place, you will get 44. So now 44, that's pi times 14, bring down your radius squared. Okay, so now on this side, you're going to divide by 44, actually both sides, because again, we're doing the inverse of multiplying, which is divide. We've got to get the r squared by itself. So 44 divided by 44 is 1. So we have 1r squared left. Plug this into your calculator, 300 divided by 44, and you get 6.8. Make sure you're rounding to the 10th place correctly. Okay, so now we want the radius, not radius squared. We want just r, the radius. So the way you find the radius is you square root both of these. So isn't radius times radius equal to radius squared? So that's the square root, finding what times itself basically equals the number inside. So the square root of r squared is r, and now plug this into your calculator, the square root of 6.8. So now on my handheld calculator, the square root is in blue above this button right here. So anything in blue, I have to push the second button activated. So that most of your other calculators that you can pull up on your Chromebook or your phone are going to have the square root button anyway. So just push it. Square root of 6.8 is 2.6 if you round correctly. So your radius is 2.6 centimeters. So 2.6 centimeters is your radius.